Working on my Cherokee. Yeah. What is up, fellow fans of an old, arguably crummy car? So today, I'm attempting one of many things here. Let me actually flip the camera and show you a couple of things I've got here. Alright, to spare you from having to listen to me talk about this live, I got a grab bag of parts for a really good price. All kinds of parts across all ranges. Included in this was a serpentine belt, and mine's getting squeaky. So I decided today would be a good day to try to change it. Now, the reason I even came across this grab bag was I was looking for, what's this? Yeah, there they are, control arms, Moog control arms, upper control arms specifically. There they are. And also, as a bonus in this pack, I got some lower control arms. Beefy. Okay, so as a guy who doesn't like taking everything apart, this is an early 94. The power steering bracket that moves is not, I repeat, it's not the same as what, like, the TRQ video on YouTube. It says 84 through 2001, all you gotta do is crank a bolt. There is no bolt there. There is no adjuster bolt there. And that is because earlier models, all the way through the beginning of 94, don't make it that easy. You got a few 12 millimeter nuts. A gear wrench is gonna help a lot. So, thread, this one's a little mushroomed, so yeah, there you go. So you got to loosen this one. Then, it make it a lot easier if you just take all these lines off, move them to the side. Fuel lines, make sure you have a napkin in place to soak it up. You're going to have one, you may need two hands for all of this, but you're going to loosen up one here. And then, if you look down in there, down there, there's two on the back. If you can get a good view here, there's a little channel that runs here because this is designed to be pulled. Pulled by what, you may ask? Well, do take off the top of this. This is easy, but you don't have to unbolt anything from my way. You're gonna want a 13 mil, probably a little stubby extender on a fixed angle right there, because down here, you can see the head of it right there in the middle of the frame. Let me zoom in. You're gonna crank that towards yourself, and that's gonna move. Whoop! That's gonna move the whole thing. It's gonna loosen it up, and then you're gonna crank it to retighten once that belt is off. This is as loose as it gets. So it's already firm on there. It's already backed out all the way out of that bracket, pretty much. This is loose. What I've seen in my research is you want this belt to be pretty immovable. You want it pretty tight. I haven't gotten an actual torque spec or anything for it on hand, but really, really tight. Not so tight that you're snapping off metal, but apparently the Cherokee really likes a tight belt. So, there you go. And we'll all be tightening our belts after we're done paying for all the parts and repairs. All right, so step by step. First, I just cut this belt off, so no going back now. This is quite a long serpentine belt. Now, before I did this, of course, I double checked to make sure I had the right belt, but no going back now. Your belt routing sticker, it's right here. It's going to tell you what you need to do. So far, I've been able to do all this from the top. First, I folded it in half. I snuck it down there around the alternator, up around the air conditioner. Then pinched it, fed the lower portion down there. We're putting it around our main crank. And then it's gonna snake up around these tensioners this way. So that's where I started. And the last thing we're gonna have is the power steering bracket here. We're gonna leave that to last. We're gonna pull it up and over that. So, I'll be back with you in a minute. And I'm doing this all the hard way. I'm not removing fan shrouds. I'm not removing the E-fan. I just want to see if it's possible. So far, so good. I And, I'm probably 15 minutes into this, so wish me luck, guys. So you're not gonna believe this. I got this belt threaded all the way in. Part number is supposedly right. Supposedly right. And nope. Nope, comes up way short. And then I remembered. I keep saying that this Jeep is an early 94, which means I should be referencing 1993 parts for it. And because the 94 parts will oftentimes take you to a later system. This needs a longer belt. It's a slightly longer system for this particular Jeep. So to the parts store we go. Sorry, baby, I didn't mean it. But here is the correct belt for this particular Jeep Cherokee. If you're gonna go Duralast, this is exactly what was in here. I was hoping that other one would fit, but time to sell it. But here's your part number. It's just a slightly longer belt. If only. I think if you did an air conditioner delete or bracket relocation, that slightly shorter belt would work. It's for a different year. It says online that part number fits a 94, 95, but it doesn't fit this 94, so you're looking for that. So maybe just stick with the Duralast, or just try to find whatever's already on there. If you can read any part of that, just use that. So here we go. One more time. Let's try it now. All right, quick update just so you can see what I'm doing step by step. I've got it all routed here. Got it routed up and around, got it pinched down. I've got it under your lower flywheel there. I've got it up and around this tensioner. Now you can see here. This engine compared to like a Ford Fiesta, which is the last belt that I changed, it is hard to turn this. So I'm actually grabbing this with both hands. I've got a hand down here to keep it from slipping off the tensioner, and I'm cranking it backwards. Okay, so I'm coming like this, and then we're pulling back. Pulling. Oh, we're so close. But you can see there, we're walking it on little by little. So hopefully in the next 30 seconds, I'll have this all the way walked in, snapped in place. All right, a little bit of elbow grease, we got it on there. Got it aligned, pretty straight. Now comes the fun part where we're gonna, you gotta tighten this up. This one, that's loose. So we're gonna take this, again, we got a 13 millimeter on a little 4-inch there. So get that right down there, right in that slot. And then we'll crank away. We got our fuel lines hooked up. We tightened this down. Try not to over tighten this. The back of this bolt actually snapped off in the housing. It still threads and tightens halfway, so it broke back here, but be gentle with this one. Actually, be gentle with all of them, because last thing I want to have to do is replace this bracket or have to pull this whole thing out. I mean, I could, but if I really want to do the repair, I'm gonna have to drill this out. But it's not fully broken. It's broken back here somewhere. So this tightened back to what it should be. That's just to keep it in place. So we'll have to check on that, keep an eye on that. All right, we're gonna reassemble everything. We'll put our air filter back in. We'll put our PCV line back on the side of the air housing. We hooked up these, make sure they're correct, make sure your fuel's coming in there, returning there. And then make sure the battery's hooked up at that point. I hooked it back up just to test my lines, make sure I had things in the right spot here. But there you go. There's that changed. Now, before we put everything back together, I'm actually going to take off this IAC valve and adjust it manually. I'll explain why in a second. So we'll take off this 4 blade pin connector, put it off to the side, and then T20 Torx bit right there, take care of it. Let's take a look at it out of the vehicle. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is what an IAC valve looks like. It stands for idle air control valve. What this does is when you are cold starting or when you come to an idle, this little shuttle called a pentle at the end is going to move in or out. Now this one is stuck too far out, so I'm going to spray some cleaner in there. Try to get it adjusted to where I want it to start, because it can be adjusted slightly. It moves in and out. If it's too far in when it starts, you're going to have high RPMs, and if it's too far forward when it starts, you're going to have no RPMs. It's not going to start. At least that's what's been happening to me. So we're going to clean this up. I'm going to give it a manual adjustment, and we'll go from there, friends. Thank you very much. Reassembled. Everything's back together. Remember, double check everything. Make sure your fuel is in. Make sure your fuel pressure regulator is connected. Make sure CV valves are back in place. Make sure that this is tightened down. All your connectors are back on. That this is tight, not moving. And then, last but not least, we'll put this back on. And you're going to want to use, I believe this is 12 millimeter. Tighten that down. You want your connections to be tight under here. Not like super, super tight, but tight enough, right? Let's go through our relearning process. Now we're going to learn you something real good here. All right, now, here's the relearning procedure for an older vehicle. Jam it in there. You know your battery's working because that door alarm is going off. And turn your power on. All your lights are going to come on like that, showing that you've got power to those places. Then, turn your lights on for a second. Then, turn your lights off. Then, turn your key off. Take it out. That is the relearning procedure for that. Now, let's try to start it. Oh, it looks like manually adjusting the idle air control valve may have worked. For her to relearn what she's forgotten and get that idle air control valve back in working order, you're supposed to let this idle for 2 minutes, then put your foot on the brake, put it in gear, idle another couple of minutes. So I'm gonna turn it off right now. We're gonna do that outside. This is unbelievable. As soon as I fix one thing, we get a coolant leak dripping from up there somewhere. It's all over the place. Yeah! Found it. I accidentally left the cap a little open. Oops. Well, it's running smoothly at this point. Okay, all right, well, we'll have to double check. Yeah, we got drips coming down from there, but that system's running, thankfully. Cooling fans are good. All right, so it's time for a road test. I'm idling, still completing the idle calibrations here. We still got a bit of idle hunting going on. So we're just gonna take it through its paces. I'm gonna be listening for belt squeak from that new belt, turning on the air conditioner to make sure that, you know, it's not squeaking while the AC is on, and you can just come along for a little peaceful drive. All right, so far so good. The air conditioning is working. Chef's kiss. Actually working a lot better. So with a belt that's tightened down and new and not squealing, every system seems to be working better. And of course, not leaving my radiator cap open when I drive off, that also really helps things. So. Alrighty, so the idle air control settings, way better than they were after I did that manual adjustment. Still smells like it's running a little bit rich maybe because of the idle hunting, but still it's way better than it was. So I'm happy with the way it's running. I'm just happy with it. But again, a simple job that should have taken like just a couple minutes turned into like an hour job, and that's just about every project I have with this Jeep. Should take a couple seconds and I'm under it for an hour or more, or I'm redoing it, or the part doesn't work, or the part's wrong. And as part of the adventure of it, it would be much more joy-giving experience if everything was right the first time. So I guess spend even more time doing research, triple checking your part numbers, making dead sure that it really is gonna fit your vehicle, because it's terrible having to go to AutoZone or O'Reilly. #1 search result for a Jeep Cherokee owner is O'Reilly near me. As this next chapter comes to a close in my Jeep Cherokee repair and restoration saga, the only thing I can leave you with is that I am incredibly grateful to be able to drive a 30-plus-year-old vehicle under a clear blue sky. Have fun out there, and take care of your XJs.